concerto, in the concerto's version of F minor. If you look at the second chords, there's a minor third jump, which is unlike anything in the traditional F minor scale. But there's a common tone at the top between the second and third chords. There are two more issues to deal with the introduction and exposition, and these are the ideas of double exposition and ritornello principle. Double exposition is the twofold statement of a theme, once by the orchestra and once by the soloist. Ritornello principle is the alternation of tutti and soloist sections. In the piece, the second group does have the alternation between soloist and orchestra. The ensemble plays the melody, then the piano does, but the A theme does not. Therefore, it is not true double exposition. However, during the piece, it does alternate between large groups and small groups. So while it does not follow the ritornello principle strictly, it does follow the spirit of the ritornello principle. The development. The development is based off of two cadenzas, the violin cadenza and the piano cadenza. These two cadenzas are connected by a short section which the violin and the piano play together. During this entire section, the pitch center is not entirely clear, and it represents a substantially large section of the piece, 74 measures, or time-wise approximately 1/3 of the piece. And now, the recap and coaching. At measure 158, the pitch center is reestablished as C with the tonic chord of C minor. This is the exact same time as the recapitulation material begins. This is accentuated by Tom playing the cymbal roll on the cymbal. The recap appears in reverse order. The second group comes before the first group. However, the second group's material is not substantially altered. The only two major changes is that there is an expanded orchestration and that there are changing meters to have built-in rubato. By expanded orchestration, what I mean is, in the exposition, the second theme is played by first just the clarinet, and the Maddy joins in on the flute. In the recapitulation, the theme is played by the entire string section and the flute. There's also changing meters. The theme in the exposition is built off 6/8 and 9/8. However, in the recapitulation, there are 7/8 and 4/4 and 9/8, where there were previously only 6/8. So this creates built-in rubato. So let's hear the ensemble play first the exposition second group, and then the recapitulation of the second group. In the exposition, the first group is fast and bombastic and exciting, and in the second group it is slower, it is quieter, and the orchestration is much sparser. So let's hear the ensemble play the expositions version of the first group, and then the recapitulation of the first group. that is substantially different from the first iteration of it. However, the piece does not end like that. It ends much more energetic, with a very fast and energetic chord. All of this remains in the tonic key chord of C minor with the tonic pitch of C. So, as you can see, there aren't many changes to sonata form. It's fairly clear that it's in sonata form. But there are four major changes to the classical idea of what sonata form is. And those are that the first group does not have a clear tonal center. The group's order is reversed in the recapitulation. The cadenza is in the development. And there is a cadenza by a non-featured instrument. All of these changes have historical precedence. Starting with the first. The first group does not have a clear tonal center. Most tonal sonatas have clear tonal centers in all the groups. And obviously, in an atonal sonata, that's not necessarily the case. But there have been examples of pieces where groups are not tonally clear. For example, in Prokofiev's Piano Concerto No. 2, the first movement, the second theme does not have a clear tonal center. Second, the group's order is reversed in the recapitulation. This, while it did not become standard, it certainly became widely accepted after the beginning of the Romantic era and has occurred in many different pieces. For example, in Stravinsky's Concerto for Piano and Winds in the second movement, the group's order is reversed. Third, the cadenza is in the development. As I said previously, traditionally the cadenza is towards the end of the piece. However, in this case it's not. While I could not find a clear, perfect example of this, there are many examples in which cadenzas don't occur where you would expect them to occur. For example, in Beethoven's Emperor Piano Concerto No. 5, in the first movement, there are multiple cadenzas and they're sprinkled throughout the piece rather than simply at the end. Finally, there's a cadenza by a non-featured instrument. The development in the Chamber Piano Concerto starts with a violin cadenza and not a piano cadenza, which is highly unusual as this is a piano concerto and not a piano and violin concerto. This is unusual but not unprecedented. For example, Shostakovich's Piano Concerto No. 1 features the trumpet prominently, to the point where in the third movement, the trumpet is almost of equal importance to the piano. So in conclusion, the Chamber Piano Concerto is essentially in sonata form, but there are some changes to the classical idea of it, but these changes do have a historical precedence. So, before I end my speech, I would like to thank a bunch of people who helped me considerably during this. I'd like to thank my family, because they're supportive, and I love them. Ron Rodman for conducting this piece. It took a lot of time for him, and I really appreciate it. Nikki for being the soloist. I don't know who else could have played it, so thank you very much. My performers, Maddy Crowell, Emily Fritz-Endres, Casey Andree, Tom Callister, Anna Wada, Bufalino, Justin Carlson, and Martin Bobb for playing. They took 10 weeks out of their time, 3 times a week. Twice of those times, I was in a position of control, which is always dangerous. And so I appreciate them considerably for doing that. Marilyn Childs for working with me on this piece and throughout the year and has improved me greatly as a composer. Hector Valdivia for reading my paper over again. Alex Friedman for teaching me composition from scratch as I had not composed before I came here. The music faculty as a whole, I did not have much theoretical, no theoretical, and not much historical knowledge here, before I entered college, and you taught me everything I knew about that. So thank you. David Kornfeld and Alex Persensive for listening to my piece repeatedly and giving me tons of suggestions. It was very helpful. Peps, Tyler, and Christoph for helping me set up this presentation. Salers and Myra Garvet for teaching me how to be a musician and love music. My music majors and friends for when I needed to complain and whine, you were there for me. And then all of you for showing up. Probably all my friends too, but still, I appreciate you all coming for this. So, before we end, we're going to hear this piece one more time, and then there are snacks outside, so we'll get those. So thank you very much.